10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
CompetitionPlus.com, the place where you can believe what you read on the internet. Maybe not so much the Competition Plus Power Hour with me and also my co-host, the Slammin Sam. I don't know if everybody should take everything we say as the gospel truth, Slammin Sam.
Why not? I mean, what we say on the Power Hour is real deal, Holyfield, and sometimes a lot of our opinions. Hopefully no one takes that wrong, but that's what drag racing needs. And tonight, you know what I want to start this off by saying? God bless Texas with his own hand.
Definitely,
so I'm going to leave it at that.
Definitely.
I've said my Texas spill, so there we go. Because tonight, I think we're talking everything out of Texas.
Well, let's bring up the card real quick and show folks. Look, tonight, Andy Carter will be our first guest. He is the general manager of the Texas Motorplex. And Sam, who's our second guest down there? Who we're going to have at 10 p.m.?
You take the card off so people can see my face, and hopefully your eyeballs will pop out of your glasses when I say this. This is someone that's coming on the show that Lee has gotten to great arguments and gone the stance for by saying, you know, a little controversy things when someone says that this person is the greatest ever. But we're going to get into all that later. We're going to yak it up. But we are talking none other than Miss Drive That Blankety Blank Back. We are talking the four-time champ. We're talking
four time.
We are exact, and you kind of are saying she's not the GOAT yet, but who knows? Hey, I get it. But we're talking about Erica Enders. I mean, huge show tonight. Got a lot to talk about. Sad moment for the show tonight too, Lee. This is going to be our first episode without our pit insider, the jeweler.
Jeff. Yes, Jeff. He said, I don't have anything, and I'm not in a place where there's good cell phone service.
I think he wanted the night off.
Song. Sorry, Jeff. We're sorry to have you, man.
No, I think Jeff had too many Coors Light during the 4th of July. You know, the Canadian. Yes. To all of our Canadian listeners out there, too, happy 4th of July or Canadian Day for you guys, Canada Day. To everyone else, I hope you guys had a safe, blessed 4th of July, and everyone wore a lot of red, white, and blue and supported this great place that we live in. And that's all I'm going to say about that, too. So what do we got on the docket tonight, Lee? What do we need to talk about?
Well, let me just very quickly, Lou, Eric, Randy, Adam, Courtney Enders, the queen of drag racing media. Each and every one of you watching, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the share button, get the word out of talking about the word on drag racing. Sam, look, I want everybody to chime in the comments. What is happening at your local track? What are the big drag racing events this weekend? We're kind of in a strange gap, it seems, man. I don't know of anything really happening on the calendar, except I do want to give a shout out. To Division 6, NHRA Division 6. They have a regional this weekend at Woodburn Drag Strip in Woodburn, Oregon. Top Alcohol Funny Car will be there. Top Alcohol Dragster will be there. Matter of fact, it is the 60th anniversary for Woodburn Dragway. Opened up in 1961. Congratulations, guys, on your anniversary. Hope many more to come. But if you're up there in the great Pacific Northwest, catch some NHRA regional action for sure.
And that's what it's about. Like you and I think we're big components about supporting your local track. Those local tracks are still the ones that are in the background, grinding, hustling, fighting to produce these athletes that we are getting blessed to see. I mean, look at how many people are coming out or maybe stepping into PDRA or maybe, getting that shot or looked at. I know some local people here that are, they qualified for, I forget where it is. There's a bracket race going on. So we got a guy, Cole Castile, out of our local track that qualified, and now he's going on. So it's cool to see when people are moving forward, just like the Jason Lyons story, or just like the Greg Anderson story. You see these guys come out of the ranks in these bracket classes and make a great name for themselves. So support these local small things that are going on, these local, some people are going to say, don't do no prep, do this, but that's what, as Wes Buck says, so here it goes, Lee, I'm saying my one for tonight. It's driving the needle forward. It is. And man, look, there's no baseball player that doesn't have a history back to the T-ball field. And the local tracks are the T-ball fields. And if we lose our T-ball fields, how will we ever have the professional meccas such as a Z-Max Dragway? Now, I want to get your opinion on this, Sam. We, in NHRA drag racing, we often don't see at the professional level someone racing right below at the next level. Occasionally, we'll see like a Sean Langdon go and participate in a big money bracket race. But what I'm talking about, NASCAR, you will see an individual race at Cup, the highest level in the NASCAR sanctioning body, but they might also race in Xfinity, one level down, trucks, one level down, or you might see them participate in late models at a NASCAR home track. Well, do you think that would help Top Alcohol Dragster, Top Alcohol Funny Car, maybe a few other classes, if you would see people participating in them from the highest maybe to a little bit lower of the classes, very similar to what Leah Pruitt's doing? I think it was said best on the show a couple of weeks ago. We need to start adopting someone younger, these bigger teams. And I'm just going to say this team's name because Erica's coming on tonight. But, like if Elite had a junior dragster driver, they had a group of drivers that were training to be in their program. I know we technically probably can't do that. I don't know how all the stipulations work, but it would be nice to see some people step back and step down. I think we're getting that chance to see some of that with these bigger races that are going on. Perfect example is the door slammers. You get to see some of the people that you normally wouldn't see out at the track. So I think that's a way to do it. I think, like we said, we need to have a starter program, a starter kit. Everybody's got a starter kit for something. So if we and NHRA adopt that mindset and that mentality, I think that will eventually grow across the board. And we'll see some people, maybe, hey, there's an off weekend for someone and Johnny Pacino can step up and get in someone's car, and give these examples of people that are wanting to move to the next level, give them that shot for one or two races.
Yeah, what would it do for a Woodburn Dragway in Woodburn, Oregon to have, I'll say Leah Pruitt once again, what would it be for her to make an appearance there in a class, or just have the top fueler there maybe to test, maybe not even test, but just have the car out there and ready to sign autographs and people could meet with her. And that turns spotlights on the people of the Pacific Northwest in that divisional race, might sell some more tickets, might bring some more revenue to the track and potential sponsorship to the teams. I think it's something definitely that needs to be looked at within the NHRA. And let me say, to your point on like adopting a junior dragster or having a junior dragster a part of the team, maybe even a satellite type deal, P2 Construction Racing, Kurt Stedding, Todd Tutterow, Kurt Stedding, they mention in the press releases what the junior dragster of that team is doing with his own kids. I believe that's his kids. So that's pretty cool. Maybe more teams need to adopt that. Maybe we even see that from Antron in the future, where we'll see what his kids are doing in his press releases.
Yeah, and exactly. And, that's something to definitely talk about here on the show tonight, too, is what Antron's doing. But like you said, even if it's a satellite, but you get this chance. And I think another perfect example of this is Stevie Fast Jackson. You can see him at a no prep event or one of the lights out events, or you can see him at NHRA. And you can't tell me that when he's there, racing in Florida, that he may have some fans that might say, you know what, hey, since he's going to be there and we want to see him again, they might come to Gainesville. So adopting that, having that, even if it's hey, on the Western Swing, we're going to adopt a team and have them there with us for this. Or like you said, or like you mentioned, satellite teams where depending on where you're at. But I think it'll be cool. Antron, big news. I'm going to segue into that, but big news. I guarantee you, and I'm going to back myself in a corner again here, Lee. So hopefully Frank Hawley is listening to this one again. But I'm going to back myself in a corner and say, I guarantee you will see more of what those juniors are doing and what he's got going on in their program. You already see it now on his social medias. If you guys go to his Instagram page, you guys can see when he's in the shop working on the cars during, his off season, which is his kids season, what they're doing with the cars, the changing of the bodies, the molding of the seats. That's what's going to help that junior class grow. PDRA, I'm drawing a blank right now, but what some of the stuff that I've seen out of PDRA is coming out with their classes, what Kingsridge Media is what I was thinking about is doing and promoting that class. When we continue to see that, it's only going to want more kids to be a part of it. And that's the end goal, is to keep growing the sport. So it's not like what we're seeing here in our local circle track where you're getting 10 to 8 cars, maybe 5 cars a night. And then in the younger classes, you're getting 6 cars to show up every event. So you have to figure out a new way to continue to feed into everything that we're doing.
Man, look, love what the PDRA is doing when it comes to junior dragsters. They have in place programs that I wish were in place when I was in junior dragsters. Like in the PDRA, you have to qualify into the field. If there are that many cars, you have to qualify as a junior dragster. Not only do you have to qualify, but you have the opportunity to take a pro tree, and you are counted as a pro class in one of the particular classes. And there's 2 in the PDRA. You get to go in the same victory lane. Look, I love what the PDRA is doing with the junior dragsters. Sam, Rockingham in a couple of weeks, legendary Rockingham, they're going to have their dig or die summer shootout. No, back of the track, no prep shootout. Dude, the first ever gun metal Wally will be presented. A no prep individual will win a NHRA Wally and a whole lot of cash. That is pretty cool, dude.
We need to see more of it. We need to see more things like that. Giving the opportunity of holding that Wally, I think, is next to none. Not many people have done it. So for someone else to be able to do it and then have, running for a little bit of cash money is never a bad thing either.
It's not. People will run for cash. But, man, there's just something still to this day, no matter however the folks are being treated by the NHRA, whether good, bad, or indifferent, people still want that Wally. They still want that Wally.
I mean, let's be honest, Lee. So I've got a signed piston right here from J.R. Todd. Now, that rod, and that piston is out of Matt Hagan's car from last year. I had a buddy on his team. That's cool, right? I mean, hey, championship car, winner, whatever. Yeah, that's out of his car. But if I had a Wally sitting up here, it would make there's just something to it. It has a glow to it. So, I mean, who wouldn't want one? It's just like having a Slammy. I'm still waiting for Bobby to send me mine.
Yes, right. Well, look, I love the emotion of the first-time winners at Atlanta. There was a couple for the last Southern Nationals, and, some had been trying for years, a decade plus, from what I understand, to win that first Wally in the sportsman categories. And, one of them let out a yelp, just relief, finally did it. It's still important in the world of drag racing. Look, there's maybe big money bracket races. There may be other organizations and sanctioning bodies out there, but there's still something special about that Wally and people getting it. Hey, speaking of Wallies, the NHRA, we love to talk about the Camping World Series, Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series. You have the Pro Mods. there also is the Heritage Series. And oftentimes we don't think about the Heritage Series, and don't misunderstand that as no senior tour. No, these are some hardcore drag racers doing it nostalgia style to the modern level. They run into some serious fiery implications at times. And Bobby Bennett mentioned to us that one of the top articles on Competition Plus right now that you need to check out at competitionplus.com is Hilton's trial by fire. So, Sam, I'm going to bring the photo up. What do you think about this fire that Mr. Tyler Hilton went through at Bowling Green?
Ouch. That's hot. Trying to figure out what other words I'd be using that are TV relate or, able to say on air right now. But that right there honestly reminds me of two things. This brings up two things. Ron Capps and Lyle Barnett. When I see a picture like this in drag racing, in modern day drag racing, this is those two things pop up in my head, Lee.
Man, the account from Tyler is that it began around 1,000 feet and it continued all the way through the shutdown area. So he was aflame for a while, for a good distance. And you see something very similar to Ron Capps, Lyle Barnett. It seems like the fire is just being fueled from the oil and the fuel itself, almost just blowtorching the driver. And he did come out unscathed. The safety equipment worked. He said he made note, hey, I always wear my Nomex underwear. I always wear my Kevlar undergloves. And he was all right. And they're looking at the car on how to make improvements and be ready for the next Heritage Series race in Idaho in August. But man, look, you deal in safety equipment. Talk to me how important safety equipment is, Mad Bro.
Actually, it's one of the main things that I talk about before the show. I was actually helping a guy try on his new fire suit that he just got, and it's funny. Lyle even brings it up. He says, as hot as you are, you'll never know until the day you need it. It's one of the biggest things. And it's proven time and time again that we as racers, we as race fans, we don't understand it until we need it. Going back to my race days 4 years ago right now, 90-something degrees here in North Dakota, I didn't want to wear, that Nomex shirt underneath or those Nomex socks. No, I wanted to wear Hanes because it was comfortable. But you see it. You see it with Ron Capps, his situation. He was on fire for a good bit. And if you look at that fire suit, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Was he burning that day? Probably. You look at a story like Lyle Barnett's. I brought that up. Thank the Lord that he's still with us right now. And his story, is if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen the pictures, the videos, everything like that, you need to do it. But there's a lot of people, and I know people that drag race that buy parts from me that will skip out on their safety stuff. They'll run nitrous, they'll run alcohol or methanol for the different people out there. They will still be wearing a single layer suit, not knowing that suit's not going to protect them for the amount of time that they need or the flames that could happen from that. So like Lou said, safety is first. It's most important because you don't want to end up laying in the hospital room from a burn, from a crash because you don't have on the right stuff or outdated helmet. Just no. Safety first, no matter what. Lee, must have been drinking ice.
I was. Take
everyone out there, we got to explain this. If this is your first time on the Competition Plus Power Hour, Lee likes to drink ice during the show. So whenever he does that, he mutes himself. So we all take a drink.
That's right. So take a drink. Man, you never know what's going to happen. And I say it this way. Racing proves that what never will happen can happen. It happens so often that racing proves that, that's never going to happen. It does. And, even the most harmless, if we can put it that way, of classes, you have the opportunity for disaster. Earlier this year, I remember seeing a mini stock driver at a local short track engulfed in flames. Looked like something out of the 80s for a funny car. And you would think that a mini stocker would never do that, but it did. You never know when it will happen. I remember a small tire class, not any fast small tire class. We're talking about, just kind of off the street type of class, maybe not even running in the 7s in the 8th mile. Guy pops the wall just right, fuel spills out on the track, and it ignites, and he has to crawl through the other side of the car. When he gets out, he has to roll through flames. Sam, guess what he was wearing on the bottom end of his body? Jeans and tennis shoes.
I was going to say jeans and flip-flops. But see, it goes beyond that too, Lee. It's knowing yourself as a driver or as a pit member or whatever it is. Here at our local track is right next to the dirt track. Motor Magic weekend, they run, dirt settles over all the campers and everything, runs right onto the track. We had a young lady who, first weekend out in the car, she's doing the grudge class, car gets sideways, flips on his head. Safety goes beyond, luckily the NHRA has a safety safari. Some of these other, no prep events or organizations that are out there running, they have their safety limitations. But some of these small tracks, you still have to have the right stuff. It's on you more than it's on the track to know what's going on with your car. You should take 100% responsibility to make sure your car is set up and safer than the class that it's running in. That's my idea. Next time I get into my car, I've put a full cage in my car now, just because I know where I want my car to be, but I know how safe I want to be. So safety is a broader aspect in any of this that we could have a whole show on safety. And maybe that's something that we should do. I don't know if people would tune into that, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can dive into with safety.
Definitely. Hey, let's dive into a little bit of pro stock. Later on, we're going to have Erica Enders on the show, but Kyle Koretsky had a much-needed semifinal round appearance, did actually lose to Erica Enders in the semifinals there at the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals at Summit Motorsports Park. He has had 2 semifinal round appearances, but at other times the performance going round by round has not been there, and he got a much-needed boost in the points, and I think to his self-esteem. And he has mentioned in an article on CompetitionPlus.com that he really feels that the first race of the Western Swing for the Pro Stockers, Sonoma, that they are poised to do better. He's done pretty good out west. Last year, Las Vegas making a final round appearance. What do you think the Kid Chaos is going to be able to do from this point on in 2021 competition, Sam?
Man, first off, there's more. I think we should dive into Pro Stock 100%. When you're talking about the Kid Chaos, right now, I think he's biding his time. I think he's figuring out a lot of things. Greg has run his whole camp. The whole camp is running very strong. Dallas has been running good. I think still Dallas took Greg's car for a couple of weeks and didn't tell him, and then they switched it back. Still my prediction. But he's got a lot of momentum that he's going to start gaining. Like you said, the last couple of races, he had some semifinals. Of course, he got knocked out there by the GOAT. That is EE. That's who we're going to talk to tonight. But I think we're going to see, during this off period, I think now we're going to see some changes made, and he's going to come out with a little chip on his shoulder, and he's going to be hungry. I mean, you can't hide it from what they're doing, and with the help of Jason Line still out there and him having the knowledge and the history he has, I think you're going to see some pretty chippy runs, just because we know what kind of competitor Kyle is.
Also, I have to keep in mind, this year we've got the countdown back in place, unlike 2020 with the COVID year. And what a great points battle it was to that point, but it's going to reset, and it's going to level the playing field for those last races. If you've got an ounce of performance right now, the opportunity for you later on to have all the performance you need to win a championship with as many cars that are out there in pro stock right now. Unlike in Top Fuel, I feel like in Top Fuel, you can almost go, unless anything major happens, I think Steve-O's got it. But Top Fuel and Funny Car, I just don't think you can call it at all, man. The competition is so extreme in those classes right now.
Pro stock, it doesn't matter what day it is. It doesn't matter what the air temperature is outside. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's the best of the best. I think even this year we're missing one of like the great competitors in that class, and that's Alex. Not having him out there, I think that shakes things up a little bit. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, do you in Vegas? I'm gonna tell you right now. If anyone out there wants to place a bet in Vegas, I will not go against EE. Like, I just won't. I told you that when we were in Vegas. Qualified 13, I said, I looked at you. I turned around and looked at you after she qualified that night, and I said, she's going to win. Like, you can't bet against her in Vegas. I'm sorry. Courtney's dropping some great knowledge like she always does. Thank you, Queen Media. He'll be back in Sonoma. That's what we like to hear. Like, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on. Do not count, and I'm going to say this right now. Do not count Kyle out. Do not count Dallas out. Dallas is like my and my third pick is going to be one of the, and I don't want to mess up their names. They won the World Door Slammers,
Quadras.
The Quadra brothers. Do not count them out. Matt Hartford is my sleeper. That is a good one, but I'm going to say my top four right now are going to be Dallas, Kyle, and the Quadra brothers. Those, like, if anyone is like, Greg or Erica, I don't know.
In mentioning all of those, like, how can you not mention Aaron Stanfield? I mean, you just look at the whole field. It's like, how?
You gotta, like, I'm picking. Like, Lee.
I know.
Skip.
You got to pick somebody, but it's hard to pick.
Skip. I'm picking. I mean, I don't know. Like, see? Like, I don't know, Lee. It's hard to pick in that. Like I told you, it's hard to pick in that class. What other? You want to talk about what? Talk about another class. Top fuel.
Let's talk about another class. Let's talk about a brand new class. Let's talk about a brand new world record. By this machine.
No, we're not talking about it.
We're talking about it.
Do it.
We're talking about it. Tasca set a new world record in a full-bodied car that is
kind of car?
Electric. All electric.
What kind of car? No. What kind of car was it, Lee? Be a man and say it.
It's a Cobra Jet.
But what big emblem do you see right there? Say it. Ford. It's a Ford.
Ford
all
Mustang,
that matters.
Yes. Ford.
We're not going to talk about what's underneath the hood. We're not going to talk. It's just a Ford. It's a Cobra Jet. It's beautiful. That's all we need to talk about.
Yes. He at Norwalk sets a new record, 8:20 in the quarter mile, and I believe he got it faster. This is at another time I took this photo. It's 8:12 at 171 miles per hour. This was the day earlier, so he actually got it down to 8:12 at 171 miles per hour. And Sam, I can tell you, after he lost in the final round to Cruz Petragon, he decided to go take it back out one more time, see if they could bring the record down just a little bit more.
Yeah, dude, he was pissed. He was pissed off. If I'm going to lose,
he wanted to get another run in.
I got to win at something, so might as well.
I got to win at something. Well, he's already got the record. He's like, hey, let's go out there and bring it down. They did not bring it down, but dude, he stood that thing on its bumper. He might have broke the wheelie bar for all I know.
And I'll give you that. When it comes to these electric cars, yes, right off the line, they have great power. I mean, it's instant. It's there. Yeah, boom, whatever. Torque. It is. But at the same time, Lee, it's an electric car. And the people, because that's what we're here for, is the people. And look what the people have to say about this electric car. Like, I mean, you know, that's a great comment right there. I respect that man.
Look, folks, it's happening. It's happening. And I think, let's put it in this perspective.
Here, it's at the best right here. We don't need to say anything else after this comment.
Drag racing is getting there first. I think that is important. Drag racing is getting out there first, setting performance. And look, man, you have Ford engineers there at the track, and they're able to encounter maybe nitro for the first time. Maybe they're able to encounter factory stock for the first time. Maybe that brings brand new interest because there's factory support behind a program like this. I think it's beneficial.
It's a good thing, Lee, but if I wanted to watch electric cars or if I wanted to watch electric racing, I would just watch two guys with their Ryobi lawnmowers make passes in their grass or something. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It's like, that would be like turning your TV off but having your Bluetooth speaker on and watching a basketball game and just hearing the squeak of the shoes. Like, no one wants to do that. It's not fun, and it's not entertaining for anyone.
Man,
that's all I'm going to say about that. So I think we should take a break, and I think we should bring on Andy, because everyone knows that I was right, and electric cars were not ready. It's going to happen, but we're just not ready.
Some of us. Next, Andy Carter, the general manager of the Texas Motorplex, right after this break on the Competition Plus Power Hour. A word from, Competition Plus Apparel. There's vintage and new apparel that you can get. Check it out.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Well, Mr. General Manager, how do you do tonight?
Good. How about you guys?
Man, we are doing great, talking drag racing, agreeing and disagreeing somewhat.
No, we're going to start right here. As a man from Texas, living in Texas, everything is bigger and better in Texas. We all know that. What do you feel about these electric cars?
Sammy, I'm with you, man. If it's not, spewing some nitromethane out and making some noise, it's not a race car. I'm pretty sure my lawnmower, I've seen lawnmowers can go faster than that. So I'm not buying into it yet.
All right. He's not buying into it yet. He's not. So let me ask you, is Tasca barred from running the electric car at the Motorplex?
No, we can do it after the show's over.
After the show's over. There we go. Man, look, Andy. So earlier today, I'm like, Elon, I need a photo of this guy. Send me a photo and so I can use it as a thumbnail. And this is what is sent to me. Dude, that is like as Texas as it can get. And
blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. Oh, sorry.
So man, look, talk to me about living in the great state of Texas and being the general manager of the great Texas Motorplex, the house that Billy built.
Well, there's nothing better about it. The cars are faster here. Everybody wants to come to Motorplex and run. We do a lot of grudge racing here nowadays, and California guys been coming out here. They're pretty good, but they've been getting whooped up by the Texas guys. And just like say, everything in Texas is bigger and better. This year's Fall Nationals is definitely going to be bigger and better than anybody's ever seen.
So we've been able to get a glimpse of the press release. Elon sent that to us. I mean, man, you're not lying. Like 9 days of events around the Fall Nationals. I think y'all are calling the Stampede of Speed. We're talking about a 5K race, barbecue cook-offs, concerts, business development conferences, all connected with Waxahachie over there, movie screenings, pub crawls. Like, what else can y'all fit in a week?
Hey, whatever else we can find. We've still got a few hours that aren't full yet, so we're still working on a couple of more ideas to add to it. So it's going to be well worth being there the whole week. We're going to open our campground up on Sunday, the 3rd of October. So a full week of camping. Every day we'll be racing some kind of cars on the track, concerts every night. I mean, just stuff going on everywhere. We'll have a big PRI style trade show. You name it. We're throwing the whole book at it.
And so when you look at events like this and doing this, there's not many racetracks that are doing something like this. So why pick, this event to say, you know what, I'm giving you guys a whole week. Let's have fun and let's just go big or go home.
Well, I came to work for Billy several years ago. It came from the bull riding world. So I kind of walked into this deal with a little different mindset as far as running the track. It all comes down to whether you're putting on a bull riding or racing cars. It's putting fans in the seats. And, I threw a lot of stuff out the window that we've been doing for years. If you go to Vegas for the NFR, the PBR World Finals, it's a full week of parties and shopping and stuff going all the time. Same thing if you go to the Super Bowl. There's stuff not just going on at the track, it's going on all over town. And that's one of the things we're working with business development stuff, that's bringing in the local communities, businesses, and showing them how they can get involved to help make this a bigger event than what it is now.
Well, y'all are definitely going big. And, with the idea of going big in Texas, y'all have done it in a wonderful fashion. I remember this several weeks ago. The top fuel car, Steve Torrance's top fuel car, in front of what I believe was the governor's mansion. Governor Abbott sitting in it. There you are. Talk to me about that day, that moment, and its connection to what we're going to be experiencing at the Fall Nationals this year.
Well, without a doubt, one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of as far as a promotional event or anything like that. The governor signed a tourism bill for us to help bring out-of-state fans for the race. And we get calling Steve into after Houston, bringing his car up there, and we parked it in front of the governor's mansion there. And the governor's going to come out and do a little quick, 15-minute deal, look at the car, sign the bill, and he had to go. Well, he got to looking at it, and then all of a sudden he wanted to get into it. So get him in the car, and he ended up signing the bill in the car. And what turned in, a 15-minute deal was almost like an hour and 15 minutes later. And, I leaned over and told him, I said, Mr. Governor, we plans of starting this thing. I said, do you want to go ahead and get out of it? And he was like, hell no, I'm started. I'm going to stay in it. And so Steve's guys fired that thing up, and he sat in there like a champ with all that power and nitromethane blowing out of it. And, before long, we had people coming over from the Capitol building because they were trying to figure out what was going on. And Governor Abbott loved it. He is a huge race fan. He's a fan of our facility, and he's got plans to come into the races this year. So we're pretty excited about that relationship we've been able to develop with him and his office.
And yeah, you speaking of that, how does it feel to have that backing of someone, that is supporting of what you're doing in that kind of position? Whereas you guys,
hear you.
You cannot hear us. Uh-oh. We've got some technical difficulties. Andy, we can hear you.
We may have to phone him in.
May have to. Andy, can you hear us? Let me remove him real quick. We'll bring him back in. Some technical difficulties. It happens when you're live. And he just dropped out. So,
but you know, Lee, that's cool to see is you have your governor's support. Even through all this that's been going on with COVID and everything like that, these tracks have still been able, you know, a lot of tracks in Texas have still been able to open and run and different things like that. So it's really, really cool to see someone that's like, hey, first of all, I'm not getting out of this damn car. If you guys are starting it and it's in front of my house, I'm in it. Like,
right.
That's my kind of guy.
Yeah,
like,
I know. He even wore the helmet from what I remember seeing. Andy, can you hear us now?
I can hear you guys now. So
awesome.
Okay. So my question to you is, what is it like, you know, to have that support and someone who's interested in what you're doing and backing of the track, you know, the ideas that you guys are putting forward?
It's awesome. We've had the benefit of having a governor like that in Texas. It's helped us. We helped right once the pandemic hit. We were actually shut down for about 2 weeks. We couldn't race. He signed a bill to let us start back racing without fans. That we went that for about 2 weeks, and then he signed a bill allowing us to have fans at 20% capacity, which in a facility the size of ours means you can bring a lot of people in. So we were the first sporting event in Texas to have fans. And we were also actually the largest sporting event in the state of Texas last year with fans. And as all thanks to, you know, Governor Abbott helping us out and seeing what the sport means to the folks of Texas.
It was a big deal. I remember last year I was at the ADRL season opener at one of those first events where fans were able to come back, and it was a momentous moment. Hey, we're starting to get back. We're starting to move back. And then Fall Nationals last year was great. It was like, wow, one of the glimmers of hope of normalcy at that event with so many people there, and how y'all handled the event during that time. And then talk to me about like a program like Nitro Madness with Chris Graves and Funny Car Chaos. I was there earlier this year. What a absolute wonderful program and historical program. And what does it feel like being in the track that currently holds the fuel altered world record in ET and speed?
Man, all of it's awesome. You know, the Funny Car show was something that I wanted to bring back to the Motorplex from the day that I came to work for Billy. We looked at several different ideas and tried a couple of things, and they just didn't quite work. And then when Chris and I started talking, little did I know that it was going to turn into what it was. You know, it's pretty badass. You know, Billy won the race that held the record for the most funny cars, and then we held the race that beat his record at his track. And it literally, you know, it was a dream come true for me. I grew up, you know, with those old style funny cars, and you know, Billy and Gene Snow and some of those guys, and to see those cars, the replicas of those cars they're running on the track, awesome, and having that many on site was really incredible. Chris and I've already been talking. We've got it on schedule for next year. We're going to actually add a day to it to kind of spread out, trying to qualify 2 rounds of qualifying with 70 funny cars in a day is a little bit more of an undertaking than any of us knew. So we've got plans to bring it back, and we're going to set a couple more records. I've talked to Scott Palmer and Kevin, and we got a couple of things up our sleeves for the one next year, and y'all will want to be there.
Oh, I plan on it. I plan on being there, definitely. And yes, sir, you are absolutely correct. I remember walking through the staging lanes and thinking to myself, wow, this is a long line of funny cars.
Yeah. But it was awesome, you know. And those guys, There was a couple of big teams there, and those guys over the years kind of get, bad rap, but, we didn't have oil downs. We didn't have breakage. Chris's guys that run with him are as professional as they get, hard work, and they're just not on the big stage, and I think what we're doing is giving them a big stage to get on and, show off what they got. And it's just a fun, laid back atmosphere. And, you were there to party in the pits every night, and, everybody was just having fun. So.
The Geezer, I don't know if it's going to be the Geezer Tour, but Roger, he says, save me a credential for next year, please. So please put him on the list and myself for next year, because we will both be there to enjoy the festivities for sure. But question for you, you mentioned it, you have a background in PBR, and bringing these different ideas, like you said, these party, or the long atmosphere ideas. Looking at drag racing and what we haven't had, and now you're bringing in these ideas, what do you see for future events, or how do you see, the correlation to doing this? How do you, I guess, project that to go?
Well, I've actually, we're bringing in a couple of guys that help produce the National Finals Rodeo that's going to help us with the event this year. And today we spent the day, working on some ideas on lighting and pyro and different things that we can do that's not normally seen in drag racing. It's all the fan experience. And I was with Tough when he did the first PBR in Fort Worth, Texas, and the old Cowboys were griping, saying, this will never work, it'll never take off. Well, 30 years later, it's still going strong, and we tapped into a new market with the younger generation that wanted to see it, that wanted to be a part of it, and they liked the loud rock and roll music and the crazy stuff that we were doing and blowing stuff up in the arena and just having fun. And I think that's what the sport's missing a little bit, to tap into that younger generation. They're out there, everybody says they're not out there. Well, we see them. We like I said earlier, we grudge race a lot at our track. We're probably the only national event that grudge races as much as we do. And, I see the fans that turn out for that, and they're out there. They're just, and even, the street outlaw crowd, the fans are out there. We just got to introduce them to this style of racing and get them hooked.
Hey, any way to get the fan bases to cross and to experience what's happening? I'm sure there's drag racing fans that would.
Guys, I lost sound again.
Boy, we lost Andy again.
I think he's getting a phone call or a message, and then he loses us. But Lee, I was gonna tell him, and hopefully when he pops back on, he can hear this. I was gonna nominate you to be the clown for the weekend.
That'd be perfect, man.
I think you and hey, if there's a possible way where I'm just gonna nominate us. I don't want to wear the makeup and all that, so you can do that because you've got the red beard and it just works.
You don't want to wear the makeup?
Well, no, because you have to hide your eyes. So, I mean, I don't think the sunglasses.
That's true.
Try and bring. But Andy, like I was saying, I think Lee should be what you would call the rodeo clown for the week for you.
Hey, I can be that guy at the Texas Motorplex if y'all need it.
We actually talked about a guy like that today during our production meeting. So, we'll put you to work.
Hey, put me to work.
All right.
I'm already the clown out there in the nitro pits anyway. They're like, oh, who's this guy coming along? Wow.
I just said I don't really want to wear the makeup. Not all for that type of thing. But Lee's got the red beard, so that'll work in his favor, and I'll help him out. I think, yeah. Lee, what do you think?
I'll do it. I'll do it. Put me in a barrel and let nitro cars go by me.
That's my.
Now you're crazy. Now you're crazy.
You sidestep one of those cars as it comes by. So
yeah, there we go. That's what they do with the pro stock when they do a burnout. The guys doing the sidestep.
Yeah. Well, it's great idea. But I do want to extend an invitation. I don't know if even told you guys we're going through about a $3 million renovation on our tower, our restroom facilities, our media center, and that kind of stuff at the track. We've got a lot more planned over the next coming years, but I want to make sure you guys are there for the full week, and we'll take care of you. And we're going to have some incredible places that you can set up and, broadcast from, and everything that's coming in is super high tech. We're really proud of what we're doing with our tower in that media center right now.
Yeah, I had Elon on my show on Thursday nights last Thursday, and he, gave a little bit of a glimpse into that. And, you all were hit hard during that winter storm, but even during that time being hit hard during that winter storm, y'all gave back to the community. Talk to me about some of the charitable efforts of the Texas Motorplex in that moment and other times.
Well, we realized at the time that, everybody was out of water, started calling all of our suppliers and buying everything we could and getting some truckloads brought out. And also with, got some donated, but, that was, I think we started that on Tuesday morning after we found the flood. And, it was just something we could do to give back. I mean, we couldn't do anything to the facility ourselves. So we decided we might as well try to help out the community.
Oh, and that's awesome, giving back and doing things like that. It's weird to me to hear people always talk about these winter storms in Texas, even though I have family down there and got to talk to them, I was message Wes and Courtney, they're all down in the Texas area, and they were saying, oh, it's -6 degrees or whatever it was. And, it was negative almost 60 here where I live in North Dakota during that time. And we were operating as normal, but it's weird to see, Texas, you never expect it to get that cold, but you guys are still going out, doing different things. And it just speaks volume on, you guys' direction now of wanting to, one, grow and continue to grow, and then two, always be there for the community, giving back, having new ideas, and having new growth with everything you guys are doing.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've got a lot of plans. They'll be coming out. We're probably gonna make a big announcement at the Fall Nationals over our 5-year plan and some of the stuff we're going to do to the facility and for the facility. This Fall Nationals is just the first step for us to go that way. I think the teams are going to be really happy and really excited. We're going to do stuff for the teams and help some of them get here. And, it's just, what we feel like the sport really needs right now, like I said. And, I'm excited to be a part of it, because this is, even talking to Josh Peterson, some of the things I threw at NHRA on a phone call a couple of weeks ago, they're all on board for it. And it's some stuff that they've never done or never allowed to be done at a national event. So a lot of cool stuff going to be going on.
That is good news. That's a positive to hear for sure. On the connection that you have with the communities that are round about the track, mentioned in what will be released, Waxahachie having some ties into this fall national event that you all have coming up. What are things that tracks can do to make the ties with the community, the bonds, stronger? Because in other areas, we hear tracks struggling with communities, whether it is extreme curfews or even being closed altogether and them not being valued as business epicenters. But y'all have been able, with the communities around about, to make it clear that, yes, we can bring good economics to this region and to this place. So what is it that general managers at other locations, what can they begin doing right now to create strong bonds with their communities?
Well, I think it's just working with them, working with the different organizations they have. I mean, we're not always on the top favored list of our neighbors and in the cities. We had a EDM festival with 70,000 people back in April. Took a little flack off that, but all the businesses were happy because they did so much businesses. Restaurants were full, hotels were full, stuff like that. We just had a pretty massive food drive at the track last week with the North Texas Food Bank. They brought in, I think, like 6 semis worth of food and fruit and and gave back to the community, and we're able to open up our facility for them to do that. We have times when the police departments need to do training and they come out and do it. Some of the things we're doing with Waxahachie this year is, we're having a movie night. We're having a pub crawl, and then we're having a movie night in their new amphitheater downtown, and we're playing the Snake Mongoose movie. And Elan's got Perdome coming for that night. So we're getting all their downtown businesses involved and driving people into those bars and restaurants down there. And then we're coming back the next night with our kickoff party, which we've been doing for several years. We'll have drivers, hired a band, play in their amphitheater down there. And, we'll bring a lot of people to town and just have a good time. And, those things, reaching out to the businesses is what does it. I mean, even if you don't get along with the politics in the town, if the businesses want you there, you'll stay there.
And speaking of that, you talked about this week-long event. You're going to have barbecue cook-offs. So are these local, barbecue restaurants that are coming in, or is this mom and pop and their smoker, or how are you setting that up?
Well, luckily I have one of my best friends his name's Jambo. He's won the barbecue pit masters contest several times, so he's got quite a bit of connections. So this one, I think we're going to do it more of an invitational. We don't need 200 teams out there. We'll have 40 or 50 teams and have a good purse for them and some really good barbecue. We will need, and that's on Sunday that we're having the concert. I think that Sunday we're having a 5K, a concert, a barbecue competition, and a car show. And I'm going to need a lot of judges for chicken and brisket and sausage and beans and all that kind of stuff. So if y'all can be there, I could probably get y'all on like the head judge table.
If you haven't heard, Lee will take you out and make you eat till you have meat sweats.
I'm your man. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It sounds good till I did one 2 years ago at the track that we had. I think by the time I got to my fourth plate of just taking a bite, I was like starting to sweat and I had enough. So
yeah, Lee, I don't know if I could sit next to Lee at the table. He needs to be on one end and I need to be on the other, because that guy will drive anyone into the meat sweat going out and eating with him, especially in Vegas at Chow Day Foo or whatever that Brazilian steakhouse
was. Oh yeah. That was good. Mint.
That might hurt you.
So, Andy, look, you've been chatting back and forth, and when we put you up on the screen all by yourself, we see some other mechanisms of racing there behind you, those beautiful winged sprints. So why so many of them, and what's the connection, man? Love me some sprint car racing.
I'm actually not at the track tonight. I'm at home, and I'm in my son's office. He runs wing sprint cars with ASCS, the 360 cars. So he's got quite a few pictures of his hot rods in here. He likes to go in circles, and I try to make it with cars going straight. So that's our whole lives are horsepower in one way or another. So we have a lot of fun, and I get to, when I have time to go with him. He's 21, and I get to still spend a lot of time with him. He started racing karts when he was little, and so it's one of those deals. It's kind of a family deal, so we get to still hang out and do a lot of stuff together.
That's great to hear, man. Well, look, as we wind down with our time with you, my last question is very simply, what is the next event that people can catch at the Texas Motorplex and enjoy whatever you all have planned at that fine facility?
Well, we got Shannon Morgan's got a race there this weekend. Redemption gone rogue. She started putting on some prep races. We'll have kind of a lot of it's Friday night and Saturday morning's bracket race. Then we move over to more of the grudge stuff and radio cars Saturday night, and she's put together a really cool small tire class. Really gained a lot of traction, and they're just a blast to watch. Other than that, we've got something going on every weekend somewhere. So,
and talking about the redemption stuff, I mean, Shannon, that goes back to pretty much some of the earliest, no prep, heads up grudge racing stuff. I mean, for years she's been putting on that redemption series. So that's always some good racing from what I've been told from the good family down there in Texas.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun. Shannon's always running around like a chicken with her head cut off, but she puts on a good race, and the racers love her, and they'll follow her to the end of the earth if she asks them to. So it's a good deal for us. I'm proud to be part of her program.
Well, Andy, look, thank you for your leadership of the Texas Motorplex there as general manager, and all that y'all are doing and moving the Motorplex forward and setting, I would say, another great era of drag racing as a platform for so much. Billy Meyer really set a standard of facility that has echoed to the very mecca that ZMAX is, and hopefully with what you all are doing, you're going to set a whole brand new standard of what drag racing, the tracks that surround it, should be doing. Thank you for your time, Andy. Have yourself a good evening.
You bet. And both y'all are invited down to the full 9 days of the Stampede of Speed. We'll take care of you. Y'all can broadcast from there. We'll hook you up with whatever you need. So go ahead and make those flight arrangements. Come on.
Sounds good.
Hey, Bobby.
Good. Yeah, Bobby.
Looks like Lee and I are going to Texas.
Texas. Yes.
We'll get the cowboy hat too while you're here.
No,
Yeah.
my family will kill me, and especially living here in North Dakota, if you are not meant to wear a cowboy hat, you're not supposed to do it. I'll bring my boots, and that's it.
Well, my family, who many do reside in the great state of Texas, I'll be more than glad to accept the hat.
All right, we'll take care of you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, Lee.
Folks,
somebody
Andy
got a
Carter.
speeding ticket today. I
Sorry.
hope he did not get a speeding ticket because he was watching the show or trying to get home to watch this show. Slow down.
If it was because he's trying to get home to watch the show, I think that's excusable. I think that should be dismissed in court.
It just depends on who the cop and the judge is, because maybe the judge likes electric cars.
Right. Maybe they do. I doubt many cops do actually like electric cars. Could you imagine trying to outrun the cops in an electric car? Probably would happen each and every time at this point, I would imagine. Just let them run out of power.
Yeah. I was going to say, what if you're not on a full charge?
That's right. They'd need to be on a full charge. They definitely would.
And a generator in the trunk.
Right. So for those long high-speed chases, they would wind the battery down awful quickly. Sam, exactly. It is time for her first appearance on the Competition Plus Power Hour.
The GOAT.
Erica
the one that you
Enders.
may have said is not. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to set you up for failure, Lee. I love you.
Oh, you already have. She can listen in. She's down there laughing. Her and me have got some decent rapport. I'm actually quite interested in talking about it.
We do. Yeah, she's a friend. I mean, come on. But, I got to see, look at that.
Yeah.
Where was that at, Lee? I think you took that picture.
Yeah, I took that.
I think you took it.
What you saying?
You want to know why?
I tell you what. Let me run the commercial.
You don't bet against her. Bet on red anytime she's in Vegas. Roll the commercial and let's get the gold on.
Yes.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
I don't have anything to say. The GOAT's on. Boom, we're done.
Well, for a proper introduction, welcome to the show, Miss Erica Enders, 4-time NHRA Pro Stock champion. Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all for having me. And Sam, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
See?
I love you too, Lee. I even brought my sunglasses just to be like you.
See, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And look, let me say.
It's a party.
Everybody, shades. Should put on the shades.
Here we go.
Yes,
Party.
Yeah. So
my guys make fun of me. They say my shades are too big, but I don't even compete with y'all.
Hey, man. Look, I'm just frustrated for a whole entire year, 2 years. I set the trend with shades, and everybody's now stealing my shades. Alex, people with Kingsridge Media, other pro mod drivers. I've seen Kyle Koretsky with them. Like, come on, guys, some homage.
They're jocking your style.
That's right. Well, look, while we do have this public platform and it being on competitionplus.com, I do want people to know, and I do want to say to you, thank you. Because the first time I ever took a camera to a drag strip, you were one of the first interviews I ever got. And Alex had to warm his pro mod up and interrupt it, Alex. And then even more than that, the next race I went to that I took a camera to, Norwalk, Ohio, got set up. I was waiting, and I didn't even have to ask. And you came over and gave little old me an interview. So thank you for always being kind and courteous and considerate to media hacks such as myself.
Well, let's not say that, but thanks for always having me on. And it's nice to see y'all's familiar faces at the track every so often.
Yeah, you probably get to see Lee's more than mine, but no, and the same thing that Lee said, I have to thank you. I'll be quiet, Lee. Shut up. But I have to thank you too, because door slammers, you're always welcome. Hey, come in, let's talk. Vegas, after what everyone thought was a crazy weekend for you, after you just qualifying 13th, hey, do you have time for an interview? You're always upbeat, willing to talk. And it shows, because when you're out in the pits or when you're back, coming in from a run, your pit is always full of little boys, little girls, grown men, women are flocking over there because you have such a support. And I mean, I don't see how you can focus on driving with all the people that you have there.
It's definitely a circus. We're really lucky to have all the friends and fans that we do. Just our team alone with the 4 Pro Stock cars, and then if you want to count the 2 Pro Mod cars, and if Bruno or Bob Benza runs the rental car, we have approximately 40 crew guys, and then the 4 or 5 drivers. And then Alex and Lyle for the pro mod side. So it is always jamming over there. There's people everywhere, and every person that's there comes with guests. So while it's a lot of fun, it does add a little bit extra distraction. So you really have to try hard to stay focused. But our pit is super fun. You guys have been there when we've won, when we've lost, when we celebrated championships. And no matter what happens, we always tend to have a great time together.
All right, let's dive into this thing. So we had Thursday night, I had Elon Werner on my show, and we talked a little bit about John Force. And John, over his career, has felt that he has got to win the big moments for drag racing. He ought to win it. Well, you have an interesting opportunity. You are the only real representation for drag racing worldwide in this ESPY nomination. And in moments of even firsts in drag racing, do you feel that the mantle of drag racing, especially in pro stock, is on you and you've got to get it done?
Well, there's definitely a little added pressure, but there's no pressure greater than the pressure I put on myself. I want to perform as flawlessly as possible every single time I go up there, but it comes with more than just being in the race car. It comes with dealing with fans and haters. And then you mentioned the ESPY deal. This is a huge stage for our sport. It's mainstream media. We are out there with other stick and ball athletes who are known all across the globe. So it's a huge honor to be nominated. This is our 3rd nomination. I'm hoping this one goes a little bit different than the last 2, but either way, just a huge deal for us. I was really excited. My sister Courtney, I got this email on a Gmail account. So I was like, I don't know if this is fake or somebody's punking me, but they say that the nomination list is going out next week and we should know in the next couple of days. And sure enough, we were nominated alongside of Lewis Hamilton, Chase Elliott. So it's a huge honor, and I was really, really excited about it, to be honest with you. It's pretty cool to be on the other side of things, not just drag racing, but on a global platform. So it's pretty neat.
It definitely is neat. And thanks to your sister, she actually put the link in the comment section, folks, after the show, or even open up another tab right now so you can keep watching this conversation with Erica Enders. Go vote. And yes, Monday Morning Racer has put his vote in for Erica Enders. Sam, have you done it?
I have. And I've done it from a couple of different accounts too. So yeah, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's right. That's right.
I did. It is a pinned comment. So if you guys want to go back at the end of this, you can click on that. Thank you, Courtney, for doing that. As she does, that's the cool thing. You have your sister there with you. So thank you, Courtney, for doing that. And as you can see in the comments below, you've got a lot of people coming in and saying they voted for you and they support you, and that, they all vote for you, and they're your fans. Sorry. So let's dive into it. You've had 2 races where, at the Door Slammers, we were projecting you to I was folding red. You've had those. What is that race like to you? To start your season, kind of you guys' race with the Elite being a huge sponsor of that. What does that race mean to you?
So that race is so cool, and we take a lot of pride in it because we do all of the hard work behind the scenes to raise the funding from our great manufacturers that support drag racing. But in this instance, they get to have an opportunity to give back 100% to the racer. All of the money that we raise goes to the racer. We pay you for showing up, and we pay you for winning, and we pay big money. So Richard Freeman and Wes Buck started this idea and put it together the first time 2 years ago in a matter of weeks. And it was just an awesome deal. We were able to plan for a year for the next one. And I think each year it's just going to get better. But to be able to start our season at the World Door Slammer Nationals in Orlando is pretty cool, because all of the Pro Stock guys go down to Bradenton, Florida to test anyway. So we give the Pro Stock teams and Pro Mod teams an opportunity to go out there and test for free if you're racing at our event. But a ton of work goes on behind the scenes, as you guys know, to raise the funding for this. And, C-Tech Manufacturing is the title sponsor, as well as JEGS, and all of the contingency sponsors that you see on the side of our race car helped out. Strange Engineering, Jessel, all of the guys. So it was definitely a huge deal. I feel like we missed out on it this year a little bit. I lost in the semifinals. Greg Anderson and myself both lost in the semifinals to the Quadras, who went to the finals, and neither one of them got down the racetrack. So that was one of those deals that Greg Anderson and myself were kicking ourselves in the butt for. But we were able to win the competition eliminator class. I was driving a car for Lee Sharp, which is a clutch car and a 5-speed Liberty. So it's just a slower, little bit different drive than Pro Stock, but same cockpit procedure, if you will. So we were able to win 10 grand in that class, and that was my first comp eliminator race win. So it was really exciting. But that race is cool. If you haven't been out to it, even as just a spectator, it is high energy. It is so much fun. And then this year we invited some other classes, stock, super stock, top sportsmen, anything with doors. They were allowed to come. So it was a really good event.
Speaking of that comp eliminator car, which is a cool little Pontiac, by the way, when else will you all be taking it out for competition? Any other times it will be put on the track?
So I think myself driving, I'm just going to run at the division races this year. We're not going to steal crew members from our Pro Stock operation, because Tim Freeman and Mark Ingersoll, my 2 crew chiefs in Pro Stock, actually handle the comp car as well, with Chase Freeman, who's standing at my door. But they help on that comp car. So we decided to focus on Pro Stock at the national events, try to try to win another championship and just deal with the comp stuff at divisionals. I would drive it at the nationals, but that was just kind of a team decision that we made, and I think it's for the better.
In Freeman form, please tell Chase not today.
I wish you could see what he's doing, because the doors to my office and my house are glass, and he's standing over there with his T-shirt up. It's stupid, but anyway.
Tell him I know he's watching, so Chase, not today, not during this interview.
He said not today. He's trying to show off his six-pack, but I don't know. See?
I'm watching.
See, and that's the cool thing about, let's just go ahead and talk about that too. Your crew. You've got Chase, you've got Royce, you've got pretty much all the Freemans, and then you've got your sister, you've got Dion. You guys have, it's a family atmosphere over there. So racing under that, how does that, team bond work for you guys? And everyone is just clicking. Everyone knows what the next person's going to be doing. Perfect example, Chase bunks his head when we were in Houston. And the first thing Courtney comes over and says, hey, are you okay? I'm not going to say what she said, but the witty jokes and the funny things like that, like, how does that make racing and race days go that much easier?
Man, the family part of it is huge. I want to say that I love having my sister on the road with me. From having another female in the pit, that makes it a little bit nicer to have somebody to go to battle with all these boneheads with. But she does all my social media and PR stuff. She helps me at every corner, and I really appreciate her being there a lot. I couldn't do it without her. But the Freeman bunch, there's a ton of them, a lot of them, and they're all crazy. But that family environment is what makes it fun. It's what gives us our natural team chemistry, and that's something that you can't buy. It's very coveted, and I think that's why the haters out there that hate us is because they can't have what we have, and it's so intense, it's so fun, it's but on the other side of it, there's positives and negatives, right? And on the other side of it, we spend more time with each other than we do our own families. So we get in little brother sister arguments, but it's all in good fun, and we have a great time together. So I feel really lucky. I've driven for a lot of different teams out there, a handful of them, and while we get down to business when we have to, and the actual business side of our operation is very serious and very successful, it goes hand in hand. So I think if you go down the list of great competitors over the years in NHRA drag racing, it's all family oriented, from the Schumachers to the Colettas to the Forces. I mean, you go down the list and it's all family. So that's what makes it so fun.
So you are the most recent winner in NHRA Pro Stock at the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals at Summit Motorsports Park. You did it over someone that, would count that race definitely special, with his long-time sponsorship from that particular parts house. Now, I found it interesting that you mentioned in the winner circle interview with Amanda Busick that the track's a bit more special to your camp than people would realize. So talk to me about the moment of holding back Greg Anderson from a record and doing it at the track closest to Melling Performance, that has had a long history in performance in motorsports.
So that win in Norwalk was very significant for the reasons that you mentioned. Melling Performance is just up the road in Jackson, Michigan, just shy of 3 hours. So we had a ton of their employees out. Both Melling brothers, Mark and Matt, were there with their families, enjoying the event. So there's no better race to win than in your sponsor's backyard. And then it made it extra special because this year they're celebrating their 75th anniversary. And from the race, poor Chase got there at like 3 a.m. After our win, drove the rig to Jackson, and we had a huge event at Melling the following day on Monday. And it was really cool to be able to bring the trophy and the ice cream scoop. And it just meant a whole lot to us. And then on the other side of things, Jed Kaufman Jr. was my teammate for a very long time. His nephew, Troy Jr., is now driving his car. So we have a huge relationship with with Jegs, not just on the sponsorship side and the business side, but on the family side as well. That's another huge wholesale name out there that's been involved in drag racing and has become extremely successful. And everybody that has the Coughlin last name, I swear to goodness, can drive a race car. But we joked around a little bit, and Jag texted us congratulations and whatnot. But to be able to go win at their direct competitor's racetrack and paint the place yellow was pretty significant as well. Jags.
You know, and talking about your performance going down the track on, I would say, game day, but on race day, there's a couple of kind of traditions you are known for. Like I said, don't bet against you, your reaction time, and then your sister's reaction to your wins. Does that play, like, first of all, your reaction times, you're known for that. You're known for being the, don't get mad at me, the best to ever do it for the women. You're known for all of that. So how does that play into, I guess, your stigma, your mindset on race day?
Well, I feel like it's a double-edged sword for us. It's something that I take a lot of pride in. Obviously, I've been racing pro stock for 17 years, and the first 7 years were winless. I drove cars that couldn't qualify. I drove cars that could. I wasn't the best driver, but all of that seat time and keeping your name and face out there and learning how to deal with different crew members and learning to get stepped on and walked over. There's a lot of negatives that come with all of the great peaks that we experience as well. But all of those things made me as a driver who I am today. It made me as a business person that I am today. And I'm thankful for those experiences. But the first 7 years were very challenging. And touching on the rivalry with Greg is, he was the guy that said, I don't want to be that guy that loses to her. So it's kind of a switch of events when we came to Norwalk, and we had to battle each other in the finals where he's trying to make history. And I thought it was an honor to be next to him. Granted, I don't think, and I want to stick up for him here, I don't think I had earned the respect that I have now back then in 2012. So I think his comments might have been warranted. And if I was a guy, I wouldn't want to lose to a girl either. But I feel like now I have my man card a little bit as a driver. And when the helmet goes on, everything's equal. So it was a huge honor to be next to him. He has the car to beat this year. I think they've qualified number 1 at the last 6 out of 7 races that we've been to. So I knew that we had to be there when it counted. And my guys really stepped up to the plate. I think we improved over 400s on the racetrack. And then I was 15 in the semifinals and then 00 in the finals. There was a lot of changes that went into that as far as trying. I knew I had to be 00 to beat him. And those are those high pressure situations that all of those years of, for lack of a better term, sucking made us better, made me be able to do that when our back is against the wall, when it matters the most. Give me the ball because I'm in a ring of 3.
Ring. So then we go in. Oh God, what is Chase doing? Just let him sit next to you. He wants to do it. Just give Chase the opportunity to do it. Come on, Chase.
He left. Let him
Come on,
go.
Chase. Oh. So I mentioned this when I had your sister on my podcast. Drive that. I'm just gonna say it, bitch back. The World Tour. Are we gonna have T-shirts? I said there needs to be a T-shirt line out there that has every race down it for that year. But that whole experience has really caught on for you. You have people that love it. What does that mean to you at the end of all the racing, after getting the trophy, everything else? It seems like that means that much more to experience that with your sister.
So that has really stuck, and it was not scripted or planned. When we won in Charlotte in 2018, Jake, my lead engine builder, he said, just drive it back to the pits and then we don't have to mess with it. And I'm like, are you serious? Because pro stock is so finite with our setup and whatever. And he's like, yeah, drive it back. And so that's where it started. And so Courtney hopped in the passenger side with the Wally, and we drove back to the pits, and she had her phone on. And when we got there, she's like, what'd you just do? And I said, I drove that bitch back. And it stuck. That's just what came out of my mouth. And, I feel like I have to be very careful because I have a younger fan following as well in the Disney movie, of course, but I'm also 30 something years old now. And it's a little bit more edgy out there. I mean, we drag race for a living, so it's it's a little bit different. So it kind of stuck, and it's so neat because on Friday when we roll into a property, I'll go out and sign autographs and take pictures, and every other fan is like, "Are you going to drive that bitch back this weekend?" So it's stuck. It's really cool. Randy Lynn and Bo Butner at Nitro Fish carry our shirts. We have the DTBB shirts, and that was another idea of my sister's, and it took off. Every time we print them, we sell them out. So it's pretty neat. But it was all in good fun. It was just kind of a random deal. And now every time we win, we drive it back to the pits.
So I will quote you from what you just said. You're 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Can't let a woman, know the true age out there. But you are in a weird twilight zone of age of pro stock drivers. You're not as old as Greg Anderson, but you're not as young as an Aaron Stanfield or a Kyle Koretsky. And I'm sure you're like, I don't feel old. I feel like I'm in my prime. I feel like I've got many more years ahead of me, but you have been doing this for 17 years in the pro categories. So what does it feel like right now being at the top? And yet you're not the oldest, but you're not the youngest. And you got this new youth movement with so many drivers coming into pro stock.
I think the youth movement is awesome. I know that when I started pro stock racing, I was 19 years old when Victor first called me and I started the licensing process. So I wasn't even 21 yet. And going on the road full time was definitely an experience as a young female, especially. But it taught me a lot of really great life lessons. But I feel like you're very accurate when you say that. I'm like kind of right in the middle. When I first started, it was honestly a bunch of middle-aged men who have gotten older. And since then, the majority of them, like the NASCAR greats, have retired. And now it's a bunch of young guns and myself and Greg Anderson. So I think it's cool. I think that a breath of fresh air has been breathed into our class. And I think it's awesome. It's something that Richard Freeman and the guys at KB pulled together, even though we're competitors and we want to rip each other's throats out on the racetrack. We work together to save a class that we are so passionate about, that we are obviously heavily invested in, not just monetarily, but with our passion and the sacrifices that we make being away from home and our families and all of the other sacrifices that come along with it. So it obviously means a lot to all of us, but being kind of, I don't know, most of them are in their, wasn't McGawha's in his teens, and then most of them are in their 20s, and then, myself and Greg Anderson. So it's very different, but I feel like we're obviously the veterans of the class, and I don't feel that way, as you mentioned, except for when I get out of bed in the morning, my joints hurt. But other than that, I feel like I'm 17 and I still should call my dad for permission on things. But it's a unique spot to be in, and I've definitely enjoyed the ride. We've had a lot of fun and a lot of success, and on the other side of it, a lot of heartache and a lot of really tough times where you want to bang your head on your desk and ask yourself why you didn't go get a real job. But this is it's been a huge blessing, and I've made a great life for myself with the help of my dad and my sister and all the team owners and crew members that I've had along the way. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, we have another individual to bring on the show. She's been primping in the green room, and we'll bring her on now. Sam invited Miss Courtney Enders on as well.
Primping?
Yes.
Huh? What's up with that hair?
I had to put a shirt on. I had a sports bra on.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for classing it up.
Yes. It might have took the ratings up, though. You never know.
I had on workout clothes, and I ran in there real quick while I was in the whatever the room is before you come on the show, and I ran and put a polo on real quick.
She had it.
So
she
to bring,
she was going to say, what were you going to say if you had on gym clothes, Erica?
Oh, I said, I'm sorry, I look so bad. I'm wearing gym clothes. I was just at the gym, and then I was going to say, no, I just dressed out. That's it.
So Dion must know that this is going to turn So he's saying, oh boy. But to have you guys both on and, ladies in this sport full of men, Courtney, you do the media, the queen of media, as we call you. And then Erica, you're driving, but you guys at a young age were superstars. For most people that don't know, you guys were in there's a movie about you. So tell about that experience. And now looking at where you've been and where you're at now, how does that feel to grow into this sport?
You talking or me?
For me, it's probably different than her because our stories have come to fruition in very, very different ways. But I almost wish that we were where we are now mentally when we went through that then, because there were so many things to absorb and go through and just sit back and think, holy crap, this is real life. This isn't normal for normal people to go leave their senior year of high school for Erica or sophomore year or freshman year of high school for me to go film a movie. It just felt normal. And now looking back, it's almost just really weird that we actually went through that. But in my view, the fact that Erica took it from textbook, storybook stuff to the very end of winning the championship, that's just, you can't write that stuff.
Erica?
Erica has no thoughts on our movie making experience.
No, I didn't know if it was my turn to talk. It was a great experience. We filmed the movie my senior year of high school. Courtney was a freshman. I actually flew back for the day of prom. So it was a very different experience. But like her, I kind of wish that we would have known then what we know now, and also had social media back then, because it would be a very different story. Our Disney movie, Right on Track, is still the most watched made-for-TV Disney movie of all time. So that's pretty cool. And Disney told us if there's a household with cable, they know who you are. And I feel like it introduced a whole new group of fans and younger kids who are now drag racing because of the movie. We get to hear those stories all the time, which is really neat. So, but yeah, it's just what our family did on the weekends. We went drag racing, and Courtney and I still played sports. Courtney took it all the way through college and whatnot, but we're a drag racing family, and that was all I ever thought I wanted to be. And like she said, I spent my whole life doing it. So this is the only real job I've ever had, and I'm definitely thankful for it.
Well, since we do have both of you on, I was going to bring up, even with just Erica, a matter of sponsorships. So there has been some sponsorship controversy with your car occasionally, of some sponsors not being allowed in the NHRA realm, though allowed in the World Door Slammer realm. What do you think it's going to take to open up the NHRA platform?
Can I answer this first, please?
Sam, go ahead.
Okay. I said it on Courtney's page. What these people need to do, they don't like it, is take a hit, go away for 5-10 minutes and come back, and it'll change their whole mindset. So I'm saying.
Look, I'll say this before Erica gives the politically correct answer, is within our organization that she spoke of earlier of 40 people who travel with us, we have every complete walk of life that you could ever imagine. And regardless of what you think of vaping, CBD, THC, medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, whatever it is that the issue is, there's somebody who wants to invest in our sport, period. So who are we, Yeah,
I definitely think if we have allowed Playboy and Penthouse in the past to be on funny cars, why not? Especially at Mile High, pun intended.
This is true. I mean, you have to look at it from a business standpoint. And even mine and Courtney's boss, Richard, he just heavily invested medical marijuana passed here in Oklahoma a couple years ago. Before it was on the ballot, he filed all the paperwork and started building this facility that we have right next to our race shop. It's 36,000 square feet. It's an indoor grow facility. It's not a hoop house. or anything like that. It's kind of like a science project over there, and they harvest every few weeks over there, and we don't sell it. We sell it to the people that distribute it. So it's definitely a very frugal business. It's Richard's had a lot of fun with it. He spends most of his time on that now, but I understand the other side of it. It's much like the people that are stuck in the chauvinistic mentality as far as females go. It's kind of that way because it's not super mainstream yet. It's not super okay yet. But if you really dug deep into it and saw how it helped people in different ways, CBD wise, kids that have seizures, it's helped them stop having seizures. And then I'm not going to talk about the other side of it because I'm a professional drag racer and we can't partake in that. So I have nothing to do with that. But Court over there, she might have a few things to say. But either way, you have to have an open mind, right? Everybody's trying to grow. Everybody's trying to make money. And we have to experiment in all different venues. And I agree with you a lot, Lee, on you touched on those dirty magazines and stuff. Like, if you can have that crap at the racetrack when people are trying to conduct business and be taken seriously, then I think that this is okay.
Right. I will say this: after the expose of Tiger King last year, y'all definitely need some stuff up in Oklahoma.
We're the classy people in Wynnewood.
Yeah, that was actually a real thing. He had been to our shop multiple times. That guy was in the local news all the time.
Man, Chase. But so is there any, I guess, for you guys, especially, with you guys having that facility that's right next door, potential sponsorships, potential things like that, is that something that's always, do you think, going to be looked at in a negative sense, or has there been talks of it saying, hey, we're looking at it, we're seeing the idea? Because, you're seeing the CBD more and more, athletes in your situation. There's, I know Leah has it and Hagen has it. So you're seeing kind of a trend of it the door slowly opening. Do you think in the next year or so maybe, or is there kind of no, hindsight for that?
I don't really know if there's a timeline. You can hope that people will be open-minded about it. There's some really great CBD products out there, some people that we have partnered with. Leah's very vocal about it on social media, as you mentioned, but that stuff is very legal. It doesn't pop in a drug test. It comes in all different forms, even if your muscles are sore, and a lotion that you put on, it's very helpful. So I don't know. It's hard to change the way that people think. I know, because I don't like change a whole lot. But again, you have to be open-minded about things and see where it takes you. I don't know. I think it's a great business avenue for our sport. It's been obviously brought to NHRA's attention with, Matt Hagen's a huge hemp farmer. So, it's very prevalent in our sport. It's just got to just be taken a little bit differently.
I think Sean Gann, rest in peace, Sean Gann, I think that he ran a company a few years ago, correct me if I'm wrong here, that on his bike that he kind of did, as you said earlier, Sam, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. He did it before anybody really even knew anything about it. And it started with a C. I can't remember what it was, but he ran it on his bike. And then I remember being in a group chain of PR representatives of people trying to figure out what it was and if it was allowed, but they really didn't even have the knowledge to know if it was allowed or not. But he was kind of the front runner in that sense. But then you go on a personal level, and not to take it to this level, but our good buddy Kyle Seipel, who just passed a couple of weeks ago, he reached out to us knowing what Elite Cultivation did. If you check it out on social, Elite Cultivation is the place Erica was just talking about next to our engine development center. And he had reached out to us. He'd been struggling from cancer and on his last couple of months and needed some relief. And there's just so much good to it that we're not advocating to try and change the world by any means. But if we're involved in something that can help make people's days better, then so be it.
Definitely. Well, go ahead, Sam.
No, I was going to say, I agree. you see it across the board in all sports right now. You know, you've got Michael Phelps, you've got the Richards girl who is now possibly not going to run in the Olympics. You've got all these different things, and it's like one category is like, heck no, we're not changing. We've been running Corvettes for years, and that's it. Then you got other people that are like, yeah, you know, hey, it's the way of the world. Let's go. So, you know, you got a lot of people saying, test it, treat it, do whatever you need to do. But if you're out looking for a sponsorship, as hard as they are right now to find, why are we telling someone else no? That could be the series sponsor, you know, for the next 20 years. Who knows? But I think at this point, we have to keep an open mind to it. I understand for the driver safety, understand that point. But to tell someone, no, we don't want you in our sport at a time like this, I don't think it's right.
Sam, energy drinks and weed. It's a world of highs and lows.
It is.
Hey.
So, ladies, with having you both on, Erica, for you behind the wheel, Courtney, with you in the world of media, what are things out there that you still want to accomplish? What is on the horizon? Sure, I understand a 5th championship, another win for you, Erica, but beyond that, like for you personally as a driver, what do you want to accomplish? Is it a better average with reaction time? Is it a better reaction time on the shift points? What is it as a driver you want to get accomplished?
I mean, every time, it sounds cliche, but every time I get in that car, I learn. It's very rare that the cars do the same thing twice. And you always have to be on your toes, especially now with the EFI era and the rev limiter. It kind of changed the whole game from a driver's standpoint. There is less margin for error. When there was no rev limiter, it didn't matter if you missed your shift 50 or 100 RPM if you were too high. Now, if you go on the chip, it makes the engine misfire and it makes you slow down ultimately. So my goal is to just be better than I was the day before as a person, as a driver. And yeah, I want better reaction times. My numbers have not been great this year, but a lot of things play into that the outsider doesn't understand. Like we're making more torque. We're having to leave at a lower RPM. All of that plays a role in what your reaction times are. So I've really worked with Rick Jones, my chassis builder. He's helped me develop some clutch linkage that has helped me get my reaction times a little bit better. And it's just something that I work on every single day. We're going to Tulsa and test on Thursday and Friday of this week. And I'm going to drive my car and Aaron Stanfield's car. So anytime that I have the opportunity for seat time, I jump in on it, and I always have. And it's cost me a lot in my personal life, but it's given me so much in my professional life. And I've been able to win 4 championships with this great team that I drive for. And I'm thankful for that. But just being a better person and being a better racer. I mean, I, of course, want to secure our 5th world championship. And I think Angel has 42 wins and I have 32. So I'm just 10 shy of tying her. And of course, that's a goal. But ultimately, I want to have something to show for what I've spent my entire life doing. And it's not the Wallies that sit behind me that will keep you warm at night or keep money in your bank account. I've got to turn all of this that we're doing now into something substantial for my future, because I'm not going to drive forever.
All right, Courtney, you in the media world.
Me in the media world. I kind of float on this ride that is her. You know, I joke and say that I accidentally landed in this situation that I'm in. But to be frank, I mean, we started together and I don't think that we would have finished together, but I wouldn't have really pinpointed it being this way. But I'll be honest with you, I love what I do and I love traveling and all the things. But we talked about this after your 3rd championship, Erica, because the 4th one was going to put you above all the other females. And we do pinpoint milestones. And it was, okay, that's the next milestone. Well, what's after that? Well, Angel was so far ahead that you didn't think it was reasonable. Well, then you start winning more races and you become there. And Eric, I know you'll know when we said, is 20 more or 15 more really reasonable? Well, yeah, now it is. So it all kind of just evolves and we just keep riding this ride that what it is. But as long as she's there, I'm going to just ride with her.
Ride or die.
Always.
It's a great sister bond that you guys have. And I can't find the picture, but I sure was looking for it, Courtney, of you behind the car on Sundays. That crazy, wild jump. You never know what you're going to get. You might get a loud scream, but you're noticed most for that jump. Where does that come from?
She's an athlete.
I'll tell you. Well, that, yes, I don't get to show it anywhere, but no, it used to kind of be a thing when I was a kid. Not everybody, a couple people said online, as they always do, that I do the things I do for attention and yada, yada, yada. But if you take it back to way back in 92, my sister, the very first NHRA Junior Drag Racing Nationals in Indy, she runnered up, and I was as obnoxious as I was then at 6 years old today. So you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes I jump, sometimes I stand on the wall and tell the people to get loud, as Dion just texted me. I air punched last week. I don't know who I was punching, but I was punching somebody. Sometimes I squat. I don't plan it. That is literally joy seeping from my bones, in a fact that I always wanted to be a champion at something and kind of was a jack of all trades, master of none. And I get to ride this ride and it feels so damn good. So I just do it.
There you go. Hey, raw emotion, nothing better than that. The sport needs more of it. The sport needs more of it. There's some of it.
Air punch to the max.
I was trying to find one, but I can't. She's awesome. Look at her.
Dude, that is pure joy. Pure joy. Say what you want, man. I am so proud of my sister. I know it's obnoxious. I know all the things we do are extra, but I am so proud of my sister, and this has been a lifetime. Her and I have both given up, and people don't understand it if they don't understand it.
No, we need more of it. It fascinates me. Look, I understand you got to keep sponsors happy and you've got to have a good representation of yourself, but my goodness, you're winning at the highest level in the world for drag racing. It should be excitable. Honestly, the people who are not moved emotionally, just like, what? Why are you out here? What are you doing?
What do I tell you, Erica? After we're driving back, again, people can say what they want about why we do what we do, but her and I ride on that door together. That is our only alone time ever. Whether we're in the car, on the door, to the scales, back from the run, to the run, whatever. If I'm on that door with her, that's so her and I can hang out. And I tell her all the time, like, E, this is it. What else is there? This is it. I kind of try and keep her in a relative sense of what's going on is the coolest thing that you can ever imagine, but it's hard to keep a realm on because when it's life and work, everything is life and work. But man, this shit's cool.
So A to Z, you guys have had a phenomenal ride and everything, but two ladies in this sport, whoever wants to go first, but take a minute to talk to the young ladies out there that will watch this and give them a little bit of inspiration, hope, words of encouragement to have them keep going to chase their dreams.
E.
My advice would be, if this is the life that you choose, you need to make sure that you want it wholeheartedly and not for the wrong reasons, because that is not a recipe for success. I will say, don't take no for an answer. There will be way more people that tell you you can't do it than that will tell you you can. Don't listen to them. They're ignorant, and they'll prove their ignorance over and over and over. I still deal with it to this very day. I was arguing with some idiot on Facebook the other day saying that I'm not a good driver because I don't do on my cars what Grumpy Jenkins and Bob Glidden did on theirs. So it just, again, goes back to the mindset. But make sure you want to do it with all of your heart and then give everything that you have to it, because in order to be successful, it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of heartache and really crappy stuff that you have to deal with. But then you get to experience these huge milestones, and you get to do it with people that you love and care about. And like my sister said, her being there with me, she's, one of the last people that I see in my door. We still have our secret handshake from when we were kids that we do every single run in our mid-30s. And it's a really neat deal. But stay true to yourself. Don't take the low road. Don't do things that'll get you to where you think you want to be faster. Just always remain classy and go after it, because there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way. They both might get you there, but which one will you be proud of? Which one will God be proud of? And which one will your family be proud of? So that's my elderly advice.
Damn.
Courtney, do you want to say anything?
On my end, I'm going to go ahead and cliche second everything that she said. But a big part of a difference of what's happening today that was different than when we first started is there's so many people who have something to say, whether you're the Erica of the situation, the Courtney, the Chase, the Richard, the Jenna, the Dion, whoever it may be. Everyone's going to have something to say about why you don't belong where you belong. And all you can do is look back and think if when you're 88 years old and you're sitting on your front porch in your rocker with the same people you'd be sitting with, the things you're going to talk about, you're not going to remember what the people thought or what they thought when you posted something or did something or stood on a wall and went like this when your friend just lost to your sister. It just can't matter. And you just have to absorb every little bit for what it is and the people that are around you. And that's what it's about.
And as our dad says, always remember that these are the good old days, because these moments pass you by and you never know when it's going to be your last win, when it's going to be your last race. Heck, we don't know if tomorrow's coming or not, but I don't know. I just feel like that's important. These are the good days and we gotta enjoy them. And as Court mentioned, it is a job and it comes with its hardships, and sometimes you want to walk out and sometimes you want to cry, but you just keep fighting the fight and follow your dreams.
All right, Erica, last serious question of the evening as we begin winding this Competition Plus Power Hour down. You alluded to it somewhat in saying that you won't always be driving. Antron Brown next year will have his own team. Ron Capps was on this very show and mentioned that he is working towards ownership himself. Could there be a day where we see, from what I would understand from the records, the very first female pro stock owner and her having wins with her own team?
I don't really know if that's an avenue that I want to go on. I definitely do think that you have to help the next person in line and you have to pass the torch. If it's in a team owner position, then so be it. But we owned our own team, my dad and I and our family. And I was much younger then, but the pressure that comes with that, and you're no longer just responsible for yourself. You're signing the front of the check instead of the back, which Richard reminds me of all of the time. But signing the front is it comes with a lot of pressure, and you're responsible for not just yourself and your family, but for all of your employees and their families, because they rely on you for food on their table. So I don't necessarily think that I would be a team owner with the way that Pro Stock works. There are the powerhouses of Elite and KB, and then a couple independently owned teams, and you see which ones rise to the top. We're always on the top of the list with all of the KB drivers. So I think to be great, you have to be with great people, and that's something that's already pretty established right now. So I don't know if that's what I want to do, but I definitely love motorsports, obviously, and that's honestly all that I know. And I'm not just a hired gun. I definitely take a lot of pride in working on my car. I've learned a lot, servicing the engine after every run, and then Chase is on the clutch and he explains stuff to me, and we go through the transmission and stuff together. So I've learned a lot of different aspects of it. I'm not just a driver or just on the sponsor acquisition side of things, but I don't know when it's all said and done. I don't really have an answer for that, but I do know that this is not forever. And, to be great at something, you have to do it all the time. You can't come in and race here and there and expect to compete against these powerhouses and these badass drivers. And So one day the day will be over and I'll have to figure something else out. But right now, I love what I do. But in the future, I mean, maybe one day I'll get married and have a family. Who knows? I'm not sure.
And you have one question coming in from Colton saying, if neither of you started drag racing, what do you think you'd be doing in your careers?
I think I would have gone to law school.
I remember when you wanted to be a brain surgeon.
Yeah, you have to be really, really smart for that.
When she found out how much school you had to have, we changed goals.
Yeah.
Me, I'd probably still be a volleyball coach. That's what I was when I was teetering on real life and doing this here ride of life with Erica, as I was coaching high school club volleyball and did that for about 3 years and came back over to the dark side. So I'd probably be in some kind of kinesiology deal.
All right, there you go. Well, look, my last true question of the night, not as serious as the other one that I just put forward. Johnny Placino versus Erica Enders. When it's going to happen? I want Mountain Motor versus 500. I want it. It needs to happen. When will it happen?
I have things to say on this. She can hush. She's the champ, but she can hush. I work the PDRA, as y'all know. I have a lot of connections. I represent the Mountain Motor Pro Stock Association for the PDRA and the Junior Dragster Association. I want this to happen more than anyone on the planet of Earth. I need my sister to be the first female on every avenue of pro stock across this planet. And PDRA is it. The Mountain Motor 800 deal, that's it. We've been joking around with John Montecalvo. He came out and hung out with us in Epping. It was just a little ferry ride away, he said, and went to dinner with us, and we joked about it. And Johnny and I joke about it all the time. But, man, I need this to happen now.
Yeah, I mean, look, Erica, do it. You can be like John Force when he beat the dragsters. You know, I don't have to go nowhere. I've done it, and it's over.
He thinks he can beat you, E.
Well,
I remember when he was
racing each other.
You guys are just racing each other.
Oh, I'm down.
Because when he was on this show, I remember there was a person who happens to be sitting right there in a red shirt that was talking mad crap for her sister. And I mean, hey, like I said, I like you, Johnny, but I gotta, I'd vote for E.
Johnny's my boy, but E my girl.
I'm game for sure. And Johnny sticks up for me on the internet with all the idiots, so I really appreciate that. But he definitely talks crap about wanting to race. And hey, I'm in. Let's go.
Boom.
World Door Slammers.
There it is.
We'll set it up.
There it is.
Because if I recall, Courtney did invite them last year. That's the ongoing joke. So
I tried very, 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 very hard. I did.
Right.
But you got to pay to play at a deal like that.
Right.
Everybody's saying it. There's the match race right there for, I'd say, Friday night. We need to see that race. World Door Slammer
race. Call Las Vegas. Get the odds going. Let's make it the deal it ought to be.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. Well, ladies, Miss Enders and Miss Enders, Erica, Courtney, thank you both for being on the Competition Plus Power Hour. It definitely has been a joy. And until the next national meet that I'm at, we'll see you later. I'll probably see you at PDRA, though.
I was going to say, I see that hat. Are you going to Richmond?
You know I love my PDRA, and if I don't have a conflict, that's where I'm going to be.
Hey, I have a few conflicts this year, and I landed there, so.
Hey, maybe if I can get an elite ride, with some of those planes occasionally, maybe it works out, But, I mean, I got to go to one place right now. Doug Foley wouldn't appreciate the PDRA over him, I don't think. So,
Well, Courtney did both of them last week in Norwalk. She was in Maryland, and then she flew to Ohio to support the NHRA side. So thank God she was there.
Not on the elite plane. I flew commercial.
She did fly commercial.
Ladies, again, thank you. Y'all have a good rest of your evening.
Thank y'all so much for having us.
See you soon.
I didn't mean to cry.
Sorry, that's fine.
Man, having the sisters on, I know Courtney did not know that she was coming on. I text her and said, hey, we got to get you on and just talk about some of this stuff. So that's always good to have the Enders crew, the sister crew, to come on and yak it up about drag racing and media. So please go over and check out everything that Courtney is doing with Kings Ridge Media and, CE Media, Queen CE. And then Erica, again, like we've said, always being nice and polite to do any interview that we ask of, always being willing to support any media person that's out there. That's greatly appreciated. And then her phenomenal career of what she's done, what she's yet to do, and still making history. That's always good, man. And it's just great to see that there's no end in sight for her. You kind of put her on the spot about asking about owning her own team. I don't know if she could answer those questions yet.
Well, she brought it up first, not owning the team, but she did say the end. You don't mention the end to interviewers. So
exactly.
That's where you gotta go. You gotta go.
Hey, but you can always back yourself in a corner when you say stuff like that. So I'm glad you did, and it wasn't me.
You do know that.
I know firsthand. I still have the scar to prove it from Frank Hawley himself. But
them Canadians.
I still think I'm going to be right. And Lee, I might as well say it. Wes Buck said it. Everyone said it, that she's the GOAT, and it's coming in still in the comments right now. It's hard to bet against Erica. Been a fan since, what year? I don't know. But, like I said, every time, even this year in Vegas, I looked you dead in the eye and said, she's going to win this. I just had a weird feeling about it, and it comes true. So,
look, it is hard to bet against her because she obviously has been doing it in Pro Mod. I've heard the epic tales that she can drive an alcohol funny car just as good as anybody else because she does have or did have a license in that. And she's done it in the Pro Mod too. So
I would like to see that.
She can get it done.
I would like to see that. I'm not going to lie. I would like to see. You know what I want to see?
You know what I want to see? Look, with this year, the way it is right now, I'm seeing Greg Anderson versus Erica Enders, Pomona, final round, for it all, championship. She might not be able to take enough Tums for it, and Greg too, but I want to see it because I'm telling you what, that round one in 2019, epic. Oh, it was great. It was great.
I agree with that, but I'm saying starting next year, I want to see her in the Pro Stock. I want to see her in the Pro Mod and the comp class she was in. That might be a lot of driving.
Yeah. It might be. She's still in the green room. Erica, Mad Bro Motorsports is sponsoring your Pro Mod efforts. There you go. Next year, 2022. We've announced it.
Hold on. Maybe I can't. I haven't sent this back to Wes Buck, so if you need some, Erica, courtesy of Wes Buck, I've got 20 right here for you. So if you need it, you can take that up with him, but it's here. So give me a holler, let me know. But there you go. I will help out with the Pro Mod in any way I can, courtesy of Wes Buck.
Sam, look, man, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my show on the Monday Morning Racer platform, Between the Slicks, Quayne Stott will be on, the head of the Southeast Gasser Association. We'll get a recap from him and a look forward going into the end of their season. As always, man, it's been a joy to be on the Competition Plus Power Hour with you. Shut her down, man.
Hey, man. Tomorrow night, but episode will drop on Thursday morning. I've got Mel. He's going to come on and talk about his great race that he's got coming up here this weekend. And then you guys know the deal. You guys know the information. If you guys have any questions for our pit insider, Mr. Jeff Arend, you guys can email those to powerhourcp@gmail.com. Get on all your major podcast forums and you can listen to that back. You can listen to these back on all your major podcast forums. Send us the emails. Go and comment. Go and like, share. Get this out. Go and support Erica Enders, Courtney Enders, the Elite Motorsports team. Get to Texas because obviously Lee's going to be a clown and we're going to be in the eating competition. So we'll all be there. Again, it's what's up, Lee? You got something to say? You're back on the show.
I am back on, and sorry to interrupt you, but we do want to make sure. Vote Erica.
Yes, that is if you go back in the comment section, it is a pinned post. It's pinned, so that way you can go back and
you can
comment
find it
for
on her
her
Facebook page as well. Erica Enders Racing. Vote Erica. We
I will
might be
share it on
divided
mine.
on who we vote for president, but there should be no division on voting for Erica.
Yes, I will share it on my page, and that is Slammin Sam and Outlaw Performance ENT and Mad Bro Motorsport. Go over Monday Morning Racer, like his stuff, support him, because without you guys, we would not be where we are. Again, thank you to Courtney and to Erica for coming on. This has been another great episode, really great episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour. Thank you, Bobby Bennett, for everything you have done. You guys, go vote for Erica. Keep spreading the word of drag racing and keep talking about it, and go and support your local tracks. That is the most important thing you can do, is support your local tracks, because they are there for you. Lee, what do you got?
Stay sanitized with Smart Sanitizer Products, your very own sanitization station that is a revenue maker in your own business. Check that out, smartsanitizer.com. By the way, man, we had a great episode last week. I just want to remind everybody, go catch that episode we had with Brett Kepner. That was awesome.
Well, Ricky, what are you doing? I'm going to change the gears for 456s back down to 411. You ain't going to mile an hour, but you sure are going to. I'm telling you, man, we're having fun here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. I'm Slammin Sam. That is Lee, the Amish guy, the Monday Morning Racer. We are having fun on here with you guys. Stay tuned. We will see you next week. You never know who our guest is going to be. Till next time, y'all, I'm Slammin Sam, signing out.
Yo.